Riverview, and the other principal will be here in a moment, but we have brought two of our most wonderful kindergarten teachers to share with you about fine motor and gross motor, which is just so critical to developing that foundation for learning, and so we want to share all this information with you right now.
So the fine motor skills are those skills that require high precision in your small muscles in your hands. So your ability to use scissors, to hold a pencil, to be able to write, those are all developed from your fine motor skills. So in kindergarten, we're really working with students to have the correct pencil grip, to be able to use the scissors correctly without having their arm leg up in the air, to be able to write their name correctly, to be able to produce letters with the correct formation starting at the top, to have their numbers formed the correct way, to be able to zip their own jackets and their backpacks, be able to tie their own shoelaces eventually, and we do that in a number of ways in the classroom. We have fantastic curriculum that really helps foster some fine motor skills and letter development and number development, and then throughout the day we have tons of engaging activities where the kids don't necessarily know that they're working on those muscles. It's just a fun way that helps build those muscles in an engaging and fun way. So Mrs. Carabini is going to show you some activities that you might see in a typical kindergarten classroom to develop those fine motor skills.
Well, this is a big part of our curriculum that focuses on fine motor development and encouraging the proper formation of letters and numbers for kinder students, even actually TK students use it.
TK and kinder.
But this program really seeks to instill proper writing habits, and so always starting from the top down and going from left to right, and really working to break some of the habits that may have been picked up or just kind of self-taught. And so there's a lot of hands-on manipulatives that each student has access to beyond their workbook. These are things that you may be engaging with a small group in a classroom. So using small tools that fit their small hands is a big, important idea. This is an example of a tiny slate that they would be using, and using just the simple shapes of lines and curves to build and write any letter or number correctly. And so this actually is a little slate that a student would use for an activity called Wet, Dry, Try, where they get the chance to repeat forming a letter 3 times through this really simple exercise using the chalk first. Again, it's the tiniest piece of chalk because it forces them to have just their 2 or 3 fingers on that tool, and then using the tiniest little sliver of a sponge to erase it, and then using a small tissue or paper towel to go through and dry it, all repeating that formation. Other examples of hands-on tools that this curriculum comes with are these Play-Doh cards. My kids love these, where the student would be using Play-Doh and rolling it, so getting that fine motor exercise, but then using it to form letters, and it gives them many cues to follow, like the little arrow always starting at the top. And that was the little smiley face. You'll see just a little smiley face to give them a little clue and a reminder, start here. You may see these smiley faces in kindergarten classrooms too. I know, like on my board, I have the smiley face on the top corner, just so it's literally embedded in them to really break those habits that they may have picked up. These are other examples of activities that a typical kindergarten classroom may also be doing. And before we go through those, one really important and easy trick that really helps to help your child isolate their shoulder and neck muscles so that it forces them to focus and engage their small hand muscles is by having them on their tummy. And it's like good old-fashioned tummy time, but for kindergarten students. And so you may go into a kindergarten classroom and see a small center or small group of kids on their tummies, working on their activity with a clipboard that's anchoring their work down. But it really forces them to isolate certain muscles and engage other ones. And it helps them build their core muscles and all of that. These are some other ideas that you could even try to replicate at home as you're preparing your child for kindergarten. So fun activities that are fun, but learning is thrown in there and exercise is thrown in there as well. So little pony beads and getting your child to thread them and be in control of them onto pipe cleaners is a fun. You could pack this in your car or keep it in your purse and just give them the chance. They can make patterns with this, or they could use it for counting practice as well. Other activities are like any type of tong or tweezer or these scissor type looking handles that actually is like a scoop catcher, and they would use it to pick up small items and maybe transfer it to a different container. Activities that involve clothespins are excellent because again, it kind of forces your child to isolate that thumb and index finger. So this is like a phonics activity where they're looking at the picture, identifying the beginning sound and showing it by putting the paper or the paperclip, the clothespin there. And different types of clothespins can provide different resistance as well. So if you have some at home, or if you're looking for different ones, that's something to keep in mind. This is a fun activity where sight words, so they could use some tweezers and pom-poms to build and lay them on top of the letters to build the words. So they're not only practicing that language, but getting that exercise embedded in it as well. A pegboard is a lot of fun. They can use it for patterning or just free play, but also giving them that chance and forcing them to have control over a tiny item and be precise with the placement of it. Pattern blocks are a classic kindergarten activity where children may have these small pattern blocks. They have to grasp them and precisely place them and be in control of them so that they're not knocking all of the other blocks off of their picture. That's a skill, it's hard, and they need time to practice and develop those muscles. These are some stacking stones that again would probably be more of a choice time item, but just having the control and being able to balance things on different angles is a challenge and fun. These are some different types of art that you might see in a kindergarten room. So this flag was made using tear art, where they're not even using scissors, but they're engaging their little tearing muscle or little muscles to be in control and make tears that are in control. It's all about building that ability to have control. And then the stars here were made with a Q-tip dipped in white paint. So again, forcing them to have that grasp on the small tool and have control over it. This was a similar activity where we're getting ready for our 100th day of school, and so students have made a 100 chart with stickers, and just that act of peeling a sticker off of a backing is exercise in itself. And then taking that with your index and thumb and putting it somewhere in a precise manner is another challenging activity. Whether it's in between rows or on a line, it's a great activity and fun. I mean, everybody likes stickers. And this is a similar activity using dried beans where they would be using a wet glue bottle and they would have to be in control of it and not let it create a huge puddle of glue, but just a dot. And then taking the small bean and placing it on that dot. It's hard. These were Valentine catchers that some of our classes made where the students get the chance to sew. And so we make a little faux needle and they're sewing it and that becomes their Valentine holder for class. Or beading of all different types, practices patterning and counting, and they get to take home something really fun to share with you as well. So a lot of these things look like, oh, just kind of fun craft types of activities, but there's a lot of purpose behind them, and it provides a lot of practice for your child to isolate those skills and those muscles. Anything involving Play-Doh is fantastic. Seeing if your child can get that cap off and take the Play-Doh out of the container on their own can be really challenging, but again, a great opportunity for them to engage those muscles and exercise them. So you may see Play-Doh being used with different types of activities. For example, here's a teen number page where the student could be rolling the Play-Doh out to form and fill in the numbers, but then also making small balls where they're using both hands and being in control without squishing, and then representing that number correctly in the 10 frame as well. So embedding the learning in with the hands-on fun. And then this is a sensory bin, which is another fun example of, again, kind of forcing the student to have a certain type of finger placement, but then being really in control of it, grasping a certain item. This particular activity, they would look at the pieces of gold in the pot of gold, and then they would record it on a separate paper. So sneaking in the learning with a lot of the fun in there too. So lots of fun ways to develop those skills in kindergarten.
We also want to help develop those gross motor skills, and those gross motor skills are the ones that develop the large muscles in your body that help you run and skip and balance. And so a lot of the times when we're engaging in those large muscles is through singing and dancing, and it makes it a fun way to learn new content. So here's a cute little snippet of some kids playing on the playground, singing and moving their bodies so that they're ready to learn and they're excited about it. We just want to get our wiggles out so we're ready to learn and have fun with each other. If you want to sing and dance, we can learn new content. You can see they're excited, they're engaged, they're happy about it. Now I've got it. So we're really working on their ability to balance, to walk on their tiptoes, to be able to skip, stand on one foot, kick a ball, and catch a ball. Developing those muscles so that they can use those skills as they get older and use those things to help make learning fun and engaging. So that is fine and gross motor skills in kindergarten. We're so glad that you came. You are more than welcome to come look at some of those activities because they're great things that you can use at home as well. And then we're here to answer any questions. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.